We are live, folks. Welcome to today's program. Welcome to today's educational training thing, right? So I want to start by saying this. Number one, nothing I am about to tell you guys is politically minded, right? So there's no politics in here, right? And so if you're feeling like there's a political agenda here or a political angle here, that's self-reflection, guys, right? That's nothing that I'm telling you. So I want to really set that baseline at the beginning of this video and help you guys understand that none of this is politically motivated, right? This is for you to hopefully overcome what we've seen as becoming one of the most addicted things that is happening to society, right? Is happening to entrepreneurs, is happening to your friends and your family and to the people around you. And hopefully we're going to go through some things. I'm going to tell you a story real quick. We're going to talk about what I believe that addictive drug is right now. And then ultimately, I'm going to give you guys 10 things that are really stealing away from this drug and helping you fight the addiction. Right? So I'm going to start out with a story, actually. And the story is this. Again, a little bit of a sensitive story, but all the more impactful, right? So back in the 50s, and you might have been seeing this floating around, back in the 50s, they were doing a lab rat test, right? They had, what they would do is they would take a bowl of water and they would drop a lab rat in the water, right? And see how long it can swim, how long it'll doggy paddle, how long it'll tread water to survive, right? How long it'll keep going. And so the first time they dropped it in the water, this lab rat went about 15 minutes before, kind of like saying, I'm giving up, I can't do this anymore, right? Started dropping below the surface, and they quickly pulled him back out, plucked him out of the water, right? Dried him off, gave him a few deep breaths, right? And then what they did was they dropped him back in. The point was to see, right, psychologically, when this rat knew that rescue was coming, right, and when this rat knew that hope was imminent, how long would it survive, right? Now it's exhausted. It just spent 15 minutes paddling its life away, dropped below the surface a few times, came back up, right? Now, how long do you think it lasted the second time, right? You think it lasted 2 minutes, 5 minutes? Think it made it 15 again? Well, this lab rat made it 60 hours, right? 60 hours of treading water, keeping its head above, keeping itself alive, right? Before it finally gave up and said, I'm dropping below. Now, I don't know if any lab rats were harmed in the making of this experiment. I'm sure that hopefully they pulled them back out after 60 hours. But here is the concept of that story, right? The lab rat felt that hope was imminent. The lab rat felt that somebody was coming to rescue it. So now I have that ability. I'm going to keep going, right? And that's the same force that allows us to keep going sometimes, because we know that there's an end game. We know that there's an outcome, right? We're going to push. We're going to push through. And that's the same grit and determination that a lot of entrepreneurs have in order to overcome the obstacles that are put in front of them each and every day, right? But here's the challenge, folks. We're not lab rats, right? We don't have the ability to be plucked out of the water, right? And ultimately, nobody is coming to save you, right? And I say that with all the right intentions, right? When I say nobody is coming to save you, there is no scientist there that's ready to pluck you out of the water. And by the way, this might come off a little bit as a rant. This next 10, 15 minutes, it might come off a little bit as a rant. I want you to understand it's coming from a place of passion. And it's coming from a place of experience, right? I've done a lot of the things that I'm going to talk to you about, and I've also overcome a ton of obstacles, right? If there is a problem in business, I've probably fallen into it, right? I've probably found my way through it. I've probably, created a solution for that issue. And each and every day, as we continue to grow as entrepreneurs, as business owners, we find ourselves stumbling and tripling and falling and making mistakes and constantly solving problems to fix and remedy those issues, right? But we're not looking for someone else to help us. So here's the challenge, right? The challenge is today that so many people are vying for your attention, right? So many people are looking to get in front of you. In fact, I've heard a statistic recently that back in the 80s, right? For those of you who are 80s and 90s babies, right? We used to actually crowd around like the TV, right? If you remember like TGI Fridays, right? Thank God it's Fridays, right? You would sit down with the family, grab some popcorn, and you'd watch TV for the whole evening, pretty much the whole evening, right? And what do you remember about those episodes? Well, you would have a 2-minute long lead in, right? They would do the background of the show and the characters and the name of the actors and so on and so forth, right? And then of course you'd have the show, and then you'd have commercial breaks that lasted 3 or 4 minutes in between, right? And back then we had the bandwidth, right? We had the capacity, we had the attention span to sit through literally a 30-minute show. Had no telephones, really. We had wall telephone, right? We had no iPads. We had no iPhones. We had no advertising constantly in our face. Well, now today's attention span, folks, has shrunk from 30 minutes back in the 80s down to about 7 seconds, right? 7 seconds is the average adult attention span in the year 2021. I think it was 2020 when I read the report, but maybe it's less. Maybe it's 5 seconds now. But the point is, it takes 7 seconds for you to commit to something and decide you want to move on to the next thing, right? 7 seconds having a conversation with somebody before you have to pick up your phone and look at it, right? 7 seconds paying attention to a TV commercial before you actually have to get your iPad and play games while you're watching TV, right? We like to multitask. We like to have things in front of our face all the time. Well, this has created a massive challenge in our society. And that challenge is this: the media and the people who are in front of you are constantly trying to get your attention, right? But think about it in a realistic perspective. Why? Why are they trying to get our attention? Why do they need my attention so bad? Well, because they're fighting for your marketing dollars. They're fighting for your eyeballs. They're fighting for your ear holes, right? They're fighting for your attention because ultimately every one of them has to sell product, right? Everyone that's on the media, all of your Facebook, social media postings, right? The advertising that pops up that's systematically designed for your attention because of the type of person you are, because of the type of conversations you have, and because of the type of way that you interact with your friends. And maybe it's your phone listening to you, right? How many of us have said like, oh man, I was just talking about fabric softener and now there's fabric softener ads on our phone or whatever, pair of shoes, you name it, right? Again, vying for your attention. Well, what they've found recently and what has become so systematic and what has become such a problem and what has become turning us into rats in bowls is they've done studies and found, and these are true studies, you can look these up. They've had executives from TV commercial or from executives from TV corporations come online and admit to this. And that is this: fear is the number one driver of eyeballs. Fear is the number one driver of ratings, right? Fear is what people have started to become addicted to over the course of the last 5 to 10 years, right? And again, I'm not just talking COVID. COVID has intensified it dramatically because they realize that, wow, people pay attention when we scare them, right? This is not, again, a political conversation. This is a human conversation. We are driving our economy. We're driving the choices we make. We're driving our ideas. We're driving all sorts of things on fear, right? The fear of the unknown, the fear that I might not be able to do a certain thing or I might not be able to go a certain place, right? The fear that I might be limited somehow, the fear that my family is going to be taken away from me somehow, right? Newsflash, we're all going to die. We are all allowed to have fear at some point or the other. But allowing the fear to become a drug is the problem, right? Fear has become part of a dopamine for some people recently, right? When we don't have a lot going on in our lives, we need that drama to sustain ourselves, right? We need that conversation piece to talk about. Did you hear about what happened on the news? Did you hear about the new statistics? Did you hear about the new report? Fear-based advertising, fear-based headlines. The things that are getting your attention are the things that scare you the most. So when I say they've done reports on it, they had CNN executive come out a couple weeks ago and flat out state, when we don't use fear in our headlines, our ratings plummet. When we don't get in front of people and scare them, they don't pay attention, right? We don't tell them that something scary is going to happen. They don't listen. They don't engage, right? So here is what I'm offering you today. I'm offering you the ability to step up and step out and become different. Become a leader. Stop allowing the fear to control your life and your decisions and the things that you are putting into place each and every day. Because here's what I've found, folks. Personally, from experience, coaching clients and talking to JV partners and having partnerships created during this whole thing in the last 3 to 5 years, I've seen more people win at an incredible level because of implementing progress and course correction and changing. See, Ed Milet said this about a year ago. I remember him specifically saying this because it stuck out in my mind. I've repeated it so many times. He said that the adversity creates change. When we don't have adversity, we don't implement change. We don't do something new. But when we get hit with adversity, right? When we get hit with something like COVID and they say, you got to shut down your business, we make the change. We go virtual, we go online, right? We take the entire sales team, we put it online. The smart entrepreneurs are looking for opportunities to take advantage, and not advantage in a bad way, advantage in a good way, to create opportunities for people who are looking to raise their hand and say, I want something new. I want change. I have personally recruited the best, far and away the best talent in the last 12 to 14 months that I've ever had in my life. Doesn't mean that the people on my team that have been here longer than that aren't amazing. They're all rock stars. But the people we're recruiting now to add to that roster are unbelievable. They're all better than me at what they do. They all supersede people we've had in the past. They are rock stars. They are absolute rock stars. And this question and this doubt and this challenges that people have gone through have created those opportunities, right? People are on the fence. People who have been in their job for years are now saying to themselves, maybe this is an opportunity to change. Maybe this is an opportunity to upgrade. I've been following XYZ forever. Maybe it's time I reach out. Maybe it's time to better yourselves. Hire a coach, hire a mentor, double down on the things that you're amazing at, right? Create your unique ability or define your unique ability and exercise that. Fighting the fear by taking the opposite approach, right? While people are fearful, I will be action taking, right? While people are regressing, I will grow. While people are watching the news, I will ignore that and listen to podcasts and read books and feed my brain with positive, uplifting, and nothing but trajectory, right? So that I can be the leader I need to be and grow my team. Henry Ford said, what the mind can conceive and believe, it will achieve, right? It starts with conviction. It starts with belief that you can take it to another level. And your belief, or why we call you a visionary, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, I don't care if you're a doctor, an attorney, chiropractor, insurance brokerage, whatever it is you own, when you can have that conviction and that belief to paint a picture and allow somebody to come along with you, align your outcomes with their outcomes, draft that picture, and bring people along. That is the idea behind transference. It's behind the idea behind creating great opportunity by your vision, by your belief, right? How do you think Elon Musk, recruits some of the best scientists in the world, some of them to come take a pay cut, right? Because they want to be the first person to go to Mars. When he first said that, I'm sure most scientists said, this is never going to be possible, right? His belief, his conviction, his story, the way he shares it with people, they want to come along for the ride. But here's the thing. Everyone is trying to get your attention. Everyone is trying to get your eyeballs, right? Your news agency is paid by advertisers, right? Your social media sponsored feeds are paid for your eyeballs. Even right now, I'm looking to get your eyeballs to attract you to work with us in some way, shape, or form, right? To be part of our tribe, whether it's coaching or whether it's joining the team and doing joint venture opportunities, or whether it's just riding along with us side by side and doing the right thing and fighting the fear. Any way, shape, or form, we've accomplished what we're trying to accomplish by getting your attention. So if you're paying attention this long, I want to share with you a way that you can decide to become, because there's only two options, right? We can either be the victim or we can be the victor, right? When life throws us challenges, when fear is superseding everything, when the news is talking about everything, we can be the victim. We can lay down and die, right? We can sit back and say, you know what? Take me. That's it. I'm cool. I'm going to go on unemployment. I'm not going to go to work anymore, right? All the fear around me, all the challenges that are going on in the world, I don't want to be part of that, right? You can be the victim or you can be the victor. And the victor is the one that stands up and creates new businesses, takes risks on themselves, doubles down on themselves because they know that they have to be an amazing father or an amazing mother, a sister, a brother, a husband, a wife, right? To the people around them in order to create that legacy. So here are some of the things, and I call this the top 10 things that steal your life force. These are some of the things that you can focus on right now to fight the fear, right? Always take it to a polar opposite, right? I can be fearful and I can teach fear and I can live through fear and I can let fear hold me down, or I can take the total opposite approach. I can allow these things to dictate my life. I can allow these things to create a better person out of me. I can allow these things to help me accelerate and turn decades into days during a time when everyone else is regressing, when everyone else is pulling back, when everyone else is feeling scarce. That's the time to go after it, right? So here's the top 10 things that I want to relay to you today. And as I'm going through these and showing you these today, first of all, get a pen and a notepad. I'd like you to write these down, okay? I want you to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. Where am I fitting in, right? Where does this number compute? 1 being you're just not doing it at all well. You're having a serious problem with it. A 10 being I'm an absolute freaking master at that. I could do that with my eyes closed, right? So first things first. Some of these things are going to seem so simple to you, but here's the point, guys. When you get all these things dialed in, this is the game changer. This is the armor that you have to put on to fight the fear and the nonsense and the noise and all of the things that are trying to get your attention. When you have these 10 things dialed in, all of a sudden, everything else starts to come into full focus. Number 1 is sleep, right? Are you getting the proper amount of sleep? Now, I'm the first person to tell you I get up at 4:15 most days, 4:15 to 5 a.m., right? And people say, well, what time do you go to sleep? Here's the secret to sleep. You have to know your rhythm, right? When you're tired, go to sleep. If you need it in the middle of the day, take a power nap, right? If you need to sleep in, on the weekends, do it. Create the amount of time that your body needs that you feel good about yourself and you're living with energy and intent. And if the rest of these things are coming into alignment that I'm about to go over with you, guess what? Your sleep will start to become normalized, whether you get 4 hours a night or 6 hours the next night, or you need 10 hours to catch up, right? But I find it that I am most productive when I'm up early in the morning and I get through my morning routine and my morning ritual before I get started. So sleep is important. Make sure you're understanding your rhythm. Number 2, Number 2 is hydration, right? This is going to sound silly to some of you, right? Everyone's done this 1 gallon a day water challenge. The reality of is this, guys. If you are 20% underhydrated, studies have found that you will be 40 to 50% less present mentally, right? Your conscious and subconscious brain runs off of fluid. When we have water in our body and water in our system and we are hydrated to the point where, maybe you shouldn't be hitting the bathroom every 10 minutes, but definitely 3, 4, 5 times a day. If you're like me and sometimes you get through the day and you're like, oh my God, I never even had to pee today. Like I did not drink enough water, right? I got to go back and double down my drink and intake of water. Sometimes I do it late in the afternoon because I forget, right? But catching up on your hydration is so important. Number 3, your diet. Having some sort of diet. Are you eating clean, right? What diet works for you? I'm not sitting here telling you to recommend one thing or the other. Intermittent fasting works for a lot of people, right? Coming up with calorie, what do they call it? What do they call when you count your calories, Matt, when they do the macros, right? Doing your macro counting is a different type of diet, right? Maybe just eliminating sugars. There's so many ways you can create a diet plan for yourself, but get with someone who's a specialist in this, hire them for their advice, and get your diet dialed in. Your diet is the fuel for the machine that creates all of these opportunities around you. Diet is a very important factor. Number 3 was diet. Number 4, intimacy, right? This is going to make some of you guys giggle, but love and affection and intimacy and sexual relations, right? This is all endorphin releasing activities. Guys, you got to find a way to dial this thing in and have some connection somewhere along the way. You can't just eliminate it completely. And I know it's especially tough for those of you that are single right now in COVID world, in COVID land, when you have to go sit at a bar top by yourself. But find a way to create that connection. Find a way to have that intimacy. Big piece of having your energy balanced throughout the day. Number 5, it's one of my favorite ones, right? This is part of geographical freedom, I call this, but it's nature, right? There's been tons of studies, and you don't even need studies to know that when you go outside for a walk on a nice day, you immediately feel better, right? When you watch a sunrise or a sunset on your favorite beach, it changes you, right? When you go on a mountain hike and you're involved in touching the trees and the growth and the nature around you and you're getting that fresh air, it changes you. If you're finding yourself stuck in a bubble all day in, day out, if you're working virtually from your home office, get outside, get some environment, get some nature, get some of that in your system. Number 6, pretty self-explanatory, but physical exercise, right? I like to sweat in the morning before I get my day started. It gets my body going. It gets my juices going. It gets my energy right, gets my head right, gets everything in alignment for the day. I used to be, back in the day, a late night lifter. I used to like going to the gym 11 o'clock at night. I don't know how I did that. Could never do that again, right? If I don't work out first thing in the morning, I won't work out. Again, you have your own cycle. You have your own body. You have your own system. Figure out what works for you and implement that thing. But try to break a sweat every day, even if it's just going for a long walk, right? Getting your body moving is going to help your metabolism. It's going to get your energy levels going. And it's also going to help just balance out your day and balance out your life. Things in motion, right? Your joints, your body, right? They start to create more motion. If you have pains and you have sores, and again, doctor's advice, go figure this out from your doctor. I'm not a doctor, right? But I have found working through it 9 times out of 10 feels better. If you ever go into a gym and you had a really intense workout, right? And you take the next 3 days off to recover, it's usually harder than if you go back to the gym the next day and you move your body, right? It's the same thing. Continue to get that motion. Try to sweat every single day. Number 7, mental exercise, right? What are we doing for our psychology, right? What are you doing to take care of your brain, to reduce stress, to create happiness? Meditation, right? Are you talking about being present and getting your mind focused and focusing on things like gratitude, right? These help us from being the lab rats that we are and constantly looking and being pulled away, right? Remember that 7-second attention span? It's so tough, but the more you can focus on being present in the moment, the the more you can focus on being in that conversation you're in at that time, it's going to be so much more valuable. One, to help you keep on track, but two, to help build rapport with the interactions that you're having. If you're speaking to another human being, if you're even on a Zoom call, right, or in person, right, let's keep the social out of the social distancing, right? Continue to be socialized. Continue to work on that muscle that helps you relate to people. It's hard to do that when you're not present, right? We've all been in that conversation where you're talking and having a deep conversation with somebody, and next thing you know, they're like, "Oh yeah, it sounds good. Yeah, we should talk about that." What'd you say? Right? It's horrible. Be present during all those times, right? Be present during the conversations you're having. And working on gratitude is going to help you also become that person and help you become more present. Number eight is laughter, right? Don't tell me you've never watched a really, really funny movie and laughed your guts out and felt worse afterwards, right? We all know laughter is a medicine. It releases endorphins. It continues to help us feel better and helps us get out of moods, right? Sometimes we get into a bad funk or something tough happens that day. Laughter is a cure, right? So finding a way to laugh, finding a way to engage, again, laughter is a great medicine. Number 9, one of the most important things. I just talked about this a minute ago on a podcast I recorded with somebody, and that is time with your tribe, right? Now, this can go both ways. Some people I heard the other day, somebody said, how do I separate my personal from my business, right? And my mindset is they're both the same thing, right? Time with your tribe could mean time with your family, could mean time with your immediate family. Maybe you have in-laws or somebody that lives close. It could also mean time with your team, right? How are you engaging? Who are you putting your time into? And when you're doing it, what are you offering of value, right? Are you just showing up to dinner and not paying attention, again, playing with your phone and you're off in distance la-la land? Are you actually caring about the people around you? Are you thinking about their outcome? Are you thinking about their results? Are you helping them achieve those things, right? These are all part of bigger picture growth and creating leaders. Last but not least, number 10 is I wrote, define your core story, right? Folks, the more clear we can get about who it is that we want to become or who it is that we are today, right? You hear elevator pitch. If I asked you, what do you do for a living? Do you answer something like real estate, right? Or do you have a defined core story? Do you know exactly where you stand? Are you able to answer it with clarity that I help entrepreneurs cut time? I help entrepreneurs find their true potential, even if they didn't know it was possible, right? That's more of a core story. How do you figure out how to tell your story in less than 2 or 3 sentences in less than 20 seconds without just saying, I do real estate, or I'm a chiropractor, or I sell cars, right? There's more to your core story. But that comes with these 2 pieces. Number 1, you have to have clarity on your purpose. Why do you do what you do? When you know why you do what you do, your story becomes more defined. And number 2, we have to have clarity on our results. What are the results that we're trying to accomplish, right? Who do you want to affect? Right now, I want to affect 50 one-on-one coaching clients this quarter, right? That is a defined result set. That is the people that I want to work with by the end of this quarter, right? Define your result set. What are the goals and the results that you're looking to accomplish? Outcome-based. Then we can reverse engineer how you get there. Folks, if you don't know who you are, and you're not comfortable in your own skin, and you're not comfortable talking about it, you got to get right with that. Because again, nobody's coming to save you, right? It's your job to get these 10 things dialed in. It's your job to take your 3s and make them a 10. It's your job to find the people that can help you. Hire a coach, hire a mentor. How are you going to move the needle substantially the rest of this quarter, the rest of this year? What are you going to do in the next 6 months to fight the fear and combat the media and stop all of the madness that's being shoved into your brain, push it away, and focus on creating your legacy, focusing on creating your ultimate goals, focus on creating freedoms for yourself, freedom of geography I talk about all the time. Be and do where you want to be, do things, go wherever you want to go. It's 2021. You can all almost all of us, unless you're in, a direct contact industry, a lot of people now can be virtual. Go do what you do from wherever you want to go, right? Create financial freedom. Finally pay attention to the numbers and dial in a plan that's going to make you feel comfortable. Create the actual financial freedom. Create freedom of relationships. These freedoms are my favorite because we get to choose who we spend our time with, who we invest our time with, who we're going to spend long-term. I call them 10-year relationships. Who am I going to build these relationships with? And who do I want on the bus with me to go there, right? Last but not least, freedom of purpose, right? How do I create this purpose and have the freedom to do what I love? You hear people talking about getting wealthy, doing what they love, right? It doesn't happen like that all the time unless we start to create the freedom of purpose, right? We start to define, what is my purpose? Why do I do what I want to do? And why do I love doing it? When you start to create freedom of purpose, folks, this is what helps people jump out of bed in the morning and be exceedingly happy to get to work, to talk to their team, and to create bigger opportunity. It's your freedom of purpose, right? So how do we unlock these freedoms? We start by focusing on these 10 things we talked about today, the top 10 things that are stealing away your life force. Try to ignore the fear. Try to subdue the drug. Try to stay away from the drama. One of my favorite mentors, Mark Evans, he says, data, not drama, right? Forget about the drama. Focus on the data. Focus on what's in front of you. Focus on what it is you want to achieve. And finally, last but not least, Matt, do we have any questions? All right. Cool. Cool. So I can't see you guys in your comments, or otherwise I'd be saying, hey, what's up to myself. I apologize. I'll have to open that up for the next time. But finally, last but not least, if you want to see the results, or if you want to turn decades into days, if you're tired of being on the rabbit wheel or the mouse wheel, and you're tired of the media, you're tired of the fear, you're tired of things on the outside influencing your inside, and you want to learn how to build a steel reinforced structure between these two things, right? That allows you to go and create and live and be the hero of your own story, that allows you to dictate who it is that you're going to work with, allows you to dictate where you're going to do it from, how much money you're going to make, what team you want along with you, the people in the tribe you want surrounding you. If you want to create clarity around all of these things, go to elevatewithjoe.com. Elevatewithjoe.com. And I will tell you this, we are on the mission to build 50 people in our one-on-one coaching plan. I can get you there. I've done it before. I've helped hundreds of people create opportunity within their business. And I am looking forward to engaging with you in your business and helping you take your life and your business to the next level. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Have a great day.